Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. I am so happy to be back here today with my wonderful co-host and friend. How are you, my dear friend?
I'm fine. How are you, Heshy?
I didn't even know your name. I didn't even
I know you don't
announce
even remember my name
I
anymore.
do remember Ezra Levy.
Oh, that's good to know.
You're my lawyer and my friend and my constant voice of reason, and I love you.
I love you too, brother.
And everybody, it's been interesting week. Getting an inspector arrested. I had an inspector. Actually, they called me, Mr. Ezra Levy.
They did, huh?
And he says he watched the video. He says, Heshy, I'm an HPD inspector. Are you actually going to have me arrested? I laughed at him. I said, listen, Fred, are you crazy? I love you. You know all I want from you. And I told you this to Ezra. I'm willing to drop the charges. All he has to do is come and apologize. Apologize and tell everybody that you're not allowed to go in. You know, today there was a fire next door by the synagogue.
Yes,
So right away, I showed up there to help the synagogue, and the police called me right away. What are you doing there, Heshy? I said, listen to me. I'm doing nothing. I'm behaving. I know there's a fire. There's some issues with fire doors and exits, and I'm here. This is my job as well, to teach people how to comply when there is an issue. And, they're being a little bit snotty and, doing their job, thinking, hey, you know what I mean, the Jews and all that. Yes, they're prejudiced against the Jews, and they're looking to get them. So I don't know what I'm going to do for them, but I'm going to see what I can do and try to help them. And if you notice, there's a salad on my table. I'm on a diet. I'm exactly 52 pounds lighter since March.
Mazel tov. Keep it up.
Am I
keep
better?
It up or keep it down. I don't know what you say.
Am I better looking?
Much better looking.
Well, everybody on the show, I want you to know that I'm happy you're back. I'm happy that you're watching the show. And we have a lot to talk about tonight, some very interesting stuff. I made a funny video before we started the show about some nuclear attacks that are going to attack New York City and the mask mandates, but we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, let me just start quickly with a quick commercial, if you don't mind. And our standard beautiful starting commercial is always, I forgot what it is, Plaza Auto Leasing. Where is he? Where is this
Standard,
Plaza
you
Auto
forgot
Leasing?
it, huh?
I forgot what it is. Plaza Auto Leasing, they're not only a leasing company, but a dealership. You get the best of both worlds, the flexibility to lease or buy any vehicle, make, model, or combined with quick service, huge inventory, and easy approvals. There's no finance manager to meet, just a friendly pal sales representative that can handle most of your transactions from start to finish without you even having to step foot in their offices. All you have to do is place your order, and they will even deliver your car right to your door. What are you waiting for? Become a pal and call Plaza Auto Leasing today. You can reach Plaza Auto Leasing at 718-975-9000, 718-975-9000. Ezra, you got to remember that number.
718-975-9000?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, I got it.
You can also check their website at www.plazaautoleasing.com. That's PLAZAAUTO leasing, LEASING.com. Located at 2750 Nostrand Avenue on the corner of Nostrand Avenue and Avenue N. Again, call 718-975-9000 and become a pal today. And don't forget to tell them Uncle Heshy sent you. Just remember, guys, the owner picks up the phone and talks to you. I spoke to the owner, Abe. He helped me. He's helping. The cars today are just crazy prices, Ezra.
I know,
They've doubled.
crazy.
I'm so happy he took care of me and my son in time. And still, he's working on good deals for you. So call Plaza, 718-975-9000. We're going to discuss the issues of the week in New York City and their upcoming elections and so on. But we're going to start with a quick quote. And here's my quote. People ask me all the time, Heshy, what are you doing? Why don't you quit? Don't quit. Stay in business. What are you up to? And I keep telling them, and yes, I go through my times. I'm going on vacation now, Ezra. I don't know where to go. If anybody knows where I should go, please tell me where to go, because Linda doesn't want to go, and I don't want to go upstate, but I have no choice.
Upstate's nice.
It's nice, but I want a private pool in a private
So
place. I don't
go to
want it in a
Poconos.
community. So again, there's no. I remember
Vermont?
I'm a religious Jew, so I need to have kosher
So you have,
and
you have the
and
Poconos,
synagogues.
you have Poconos.
But,
New Hampshire's nice, actually.
Yeah, but again, these are things that are not for me. I'm just a Brooklynite. I was thinking of going to Florida,
So
even though
hot.
but I like the heat. You know what I mean?
So you just go outside. You don't have to
I
go
got
Florida.
I have that. So if anybody who has a good suggestion,
Actually,
where
my
I
wife
can
was
get-
saying, let's go down to Florida. I go, for what?
I love Florida.
I go,
because you have the
it's already
beach,
hot. I
you
don't
have
need
the
to go down there.
beach, The beach.
You have beaches here.
I know. See, every single answer you said, I said the same answer. I don't know. I got to go
I know. I
somewhere.
understand going. I'm not a country boy myself, but it's nice up there, right?
But
at this time of year.
recently, as you know, Simcha Felder has knocked me off the ballot 3 different times. He spent a total of $185,000 today to get me off the ballot. Over the weekend, I'm telling you, it's $185,000, and everybody's telling me, "Oh, it's not true." Look at his campaign financing. He's paid his lawyers almost $60,000.
Yo, whoa. You owe me some money then.
I know that. 60 grand he paid just in legal fees. Forget all the fees for his staff of going over reviewing and stuff and all that other people that he had to pay and people that he actually sent down that the campaign paid for, that his own staff members, and they're not cheap. They're getting like 50, 60 bucks an hour. So anyways, so you know what? It's approximately 185,000. It could be from 0 to 185. How is that? But I saw the campaign financing, the preliminary stuff, and it's about 185 grand he spent on legal fees. Now, whether it's all me, but there's nobody else competing against him for state senator. I am running for state senate. So what happened was I gave in my 3,800
Yeah, I
signatures.
saw.
And what happened is that I gave in my acceptance letter, I gave in my cover sheet letter, triple checked it with legal, triple checked it with my son, went through the signatures. All of a sudden over the weekend I get a letter, "Oh my gosh, you made a mistake. You didn't give in your master sheet, the acceptance letter." Now when I went down there right before the weekend, it was 6:07 p.m. Friday that we stamped it in.
Wow.
We stamped in 3 copies of the cover letter, 4 copies of the acceptance letter, 2 copies of the signatures. There was no way they could have misplaced it. And still they wrote a letter dated the same day of July 5th.
Of course.
And it came to me on the weekend, and they said by July 11th, Monday morning, because Board of Elections were closed, "You better have this acceptance letter in." And I ran up there with the same witness, and we showed them that we signed into the books. And they knew us, and we resubmitted a copy, and I called the manager out. I said, "I gave it in." "Oh, it's a form letter." I said, "There's no such thing as a form mistake letter." I said, "Now you got it. Make sure I'm on the ballot." And then he calls me back. He says, "Heshy, Harold, there's no objections anymore."
Simcha threw in the towel?
He threw in the towel.
I guess he thinks he has it locked.
185 grand, and he thinks he has it locked in. And remember, I'm running as an independent. It's called the Borough Park Flatbush Party. We're running, and we will be on the ballot, not on the August 23rd, which anyways, that not a lot of people. 5,000 people.
August 23rd is the Democratic primary.
Is the primary and Republican primary. But right, there's going to be a smaller turnout. And I can't believe you guys didn't come out to vote. And people are telling me on the street, "Oh, Penny Ringel's no good, and David Schwartz is no good." And I said, "You didn't come out to vote? You didn't come out to vote. What are you talking to me about? What are you complaining about? This time, don't complain to me. Go call Simcha Felder. Go call them. You know what I mean?" But next week there's a big barbecue, and Simcha Felder's going to be on it, and I'm invited, and I'm going to make sure I'm
You
there.
can make sure he gets roasted.
He gets yesterday.
You
I went
can behave
to,
yourself.
And yesterday,
Hey, you're not going to get arrested.
I'm not going to get arrested. I'm not going to behave myself. I
gotta
am going to
behave
question
yourself.
him. But yesterday I went to a real estate convention with all the people, and they invited Carmen Yeager,
Okay.
and Carmen Yeager and me hugged, and we talked, and
You shared an egg roll?
and we what?
You shared an egg roll?
We did not share an egg roll, but I did tell him he has to give me one. And we spoke, and we said, "Listen, I'm your competitor, but I do believe you're my councilman. You serve the community, and I'm sorry if you got insulted by any stupid things that I've said. But, I do get angry, and I am disappointed in the hospital." And he said he will look into it in more detail, which we're going to talk about
Right.
tonight about Maimonides Hospital and about other things. But, guys, November 8th, I'm on that ballot. Republican, Democrat, come out to vote. I understand August 23rd is going to be a light thing. Anyways, I'm not on the ballots, so do whatever you want to do. But November 8th, guys.
You're not running for Congress or
By the
anything?
way, no, but Brian Robinson is running for Congress. He was on our show.
Right.
He's running against Bill de Blasio. Now, when I went to this event yesterday, there was a few politicians there, and everybody was taking pictures with me, but nobody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? They were even having question and answer period, and people stopped asking questions, and I said, "Let me ask a question." And all of a sudden, the host said, "Heshy, this is not." They were scared. The whole crowd was shaking. What's Heshy going to say? There are like 200 people in the room. I said, "Okay, I'm not going to say anything. Just that I have any question I can ask right now." And I'm more qualified in that room to ask questions about buildings and real estate than anybody else, but I didn't want to make crazy these bankers. And let me tell you guys, what upsets me is that these bankers come out, and just like you, when you have your mortgage, they complain about the city not helping you, about higher interest rates and mortgages going slow, empty rentals. It's their fault. The Department of Buildings is a government agency that issues sometimes frivolous violations. I had a guy
Sometimes?
all the time.
Sometimes.
And a guy comes over to me, "Heshy, I didn't listen to your advice 3 years ago. I owe $200,000. I let it go into default. What can you do for me now?" I said, "I don't understand you. 3 years ago, I told you what I could do. You're here now with a big problem that I could have solved back then." And my point is now the Department of Buildings is using mortgage companies, bankers to make us pay fines
Right.
and
They
frivolous
become
violations that have nothing to do with them.
But there's bankers and mortgage companies that have become basically bill collectors.
Bill
for the state.
collectors for the city, and which is when you send an appraiser to the house, which is a competent person and an engineer, that's it. The house is legal, straight, and good enough for us. That's it. You don't have to follow DOB regulations or pay their fines. We'll deal with the DOB separately. But again, they don't care. And again, somehow these bankers, and they're complaining about their mortgages because this is easier for them to foreclose.
Right.
They're complaining about empty vacant spots in buildings. You know, I don't know. In Borough Park, there's no empty vacancy apartments. You can't find one. The ones in the city, because, hey, these landlords are scared or they can't rent it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But trust me.
And a lot of them are also commercial real estate.
It's not only commercial. There's a lot of residential apartments.
People moved out of the city.
Yeah.
I mean, in the city especially,
But
people
still,
live in Manhattan
I know
can't afford the rent, and they're not working. They're working remotely. So
people are
work from
calling
Florida.
me. People are calling me all the time. By the way, people complained last week, Ezra, that we don't let people talk. I'm sorry. If you call into the show, I will let you talk. There's a problem with calling into the show tonight. But if you do want to call into the show, I do have a number. I know he won't let me call into the show. Well, next week you'll be able to call into the show, and I promise you I will let people talk as much as they want.
We have the chat? Or
We
is,
do
that
have,
chat?
is the chat working? The chat is working. It's not on. I know the chat's not on.
Okay.
But the
So chat's not working yet either.
the chat's not working
It will
either.
be working soon.
Is working, but how come I don't see it?
'Cause I don't know how
He keeps waving to me. People keep waving to me. I don't know what the wave is. I want to see what the chat is and the questions are. But we'll have that up and running in a minute. But right now we're going to start with my joke and quote for the day. And here's my quote. And this is what my quote is for me. People ask me, why are you running? Why are you not running? I'm going to tell you. The purpose in my life is leaving the world a better place than what it is right now. I want to make your life and my life matter and have fun doing it. And every morning I wake up and I know I'm going to have some fun. And even though it's a bad day, I'm still going to keep trying. I'm still going to keep making my life more purposeful. And I'm going to continue fighting. You know, 2 years ago, Ezra, I made a video. And here we're going to start with this. Oh, I'm going to go give you my joke because you're going to like this joke. This joke is for you. You're going to use
for
this
me?
joke. Perfect. Yes.
Okay.
This joke is made for Ezra, everybody. I was putting my little 3-year-old son, Yaakov, to sleep one night. Oh, it's up. And I said, his mother, Linda, sent me in. He says, you better get that boy sleeping. So I walked in there. I said, Yaakov, what's up? Why aren't you sleeping? He said, Pop, I can't sleep. I said, why not? Yaakov said, there are scary monsters under my bed. And I said to him, and I smiled. I said, are they scarier than your mother? He closed his eyes, went right to bed. Tell me that's not funny.
All right.
Okay. You see, now
I have to be careful I don't know if I'll use
Oh,
it.
I didn't let Linda listen to
Of
that.
course
joke.
not.
You kidding me?
Does she listen to the show tonight?
What?
Does she listen to our
She
show?
always listens. She's in one of her moods. I wanted to go give blood today. There's a blood drive.
Right.
I was going to give blood. When me and Yaakov went there, Linda says, why are you giving blood? I said, because people have to give
Yes.
blood. She says, oh, it's not healthy. I said, it's healthy. We're giving blood. And when we got there, the blood drive is next week.
Of course. Very
Of
good,
course.
Heshy. You don't
It's
have
in
to read
Flappers,
calendar.
29 13th Avenue, and I went on the wrong day. But you see, I keep going. Anyways, I want to tell you something about this, what we were just discussing. I forgot what we were discussing.
Mortgages, banks.
Not the mortgage bank. We got rid of that already. We're finished with that. New York City is lost.
Oh, it's been lost for a long time. We have no compass left.
But
We have incompetent leadership. We have no
but
leadership.
it's not even leadership. I want to just show you what happened this week. A bodega owner.
Okay. Right.
Tell me,
So
it's-
Lenny called in last week. He was mentioning about when we spoke
right,
to
a
Lenny.
bodega owner
Right.
and they arrested him, and they're really charging him with second-degree
Right.
murder.
So second-degree murder for our audience, second-degree murder is intentional murder or depraved indifference murder or felony murder in New York. It doesn't require you to plan the murder. A lot of people keep saying it has to be premeditated. It doesn't require you to be
How many
premeditated.
years in jail?
The minimum sentence, if you convict at trial, is 15 years to life, which
Oh
means
my
you could be
God.
held up till you never get out. The maximum is 25 to life.
So self-defense now,
so
doesn't
very
come
good.
into
So there
effect.
is self-defense is known under the New York penal law as justification, which means if you have you're justified to use it. It's a complete defense that the district attorney's office has to disprove beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a very high burden. I will tell you, there are very few cases where you have a legitimate self-defense claim because you have to use force that is commensurate with the force being used against you, and a lot of people do jump the gun, and a lot of people take excessive.
The guy was robbing him.
Look, Mr. Alba in Harlem there did everything correctly. did everything correctly. It's a travesty that he was ever arraigned. Travesty that he was put
And
in
the
jail.
judge didn't just throw it out, say this is
So,
stupid.
so the judge, okay, so the judge doesn't. Judges don't have as much power as we give them credit for, especially the way the procedure works in New York State. On a felony complaint, the judge can only decide to set bail or release the defendant, and until the grand jury makes a decision as to whether they're going to indict the case. Once the case, if it's indicted by grand jury, then the judge could review the evidence there, make a decision.
So right now there was no grand jury. yet.
And it's not. And honestly, I don't see. Look, Manhattan's a very pro prosecution oriented county when you try cases. But I don't see I don't see a grand jury ever indicting a case like this.
So if they don't indict him, what happens?
So 6 months after, 6 months after the case, it's a homicide. So what they really have to do is present the case to the grand jury, which is 16 to 23 people from the county. Hear the evidence.
Isn't there a speedy trial?
Not on
needed?
homicides. That's the problem.
Not on
So that's why. So it's usually it's 6 months on a felony, but on homicide there is no speedy trial. So what's going to have to happen is the grand jury is going to have to hear it. 12 grand jurors are going to have to vote to what's called a no true bill, which means we don't think.
But you know the prosecutor is the only one presenting the evidence.
Yeah, but
so you're not going to hear from the other side self-defense.
Okay, so very good. The DA runs the grand jury. There's no judge there, but as a defendant, you have a right to testify. You have a right to ask that witnesses be called, that the grand jury votes to hear witnesses or not. You also a judge will review what's called the charges, which is the legal instructions.
But they do allow him to come. Usually, I hear they don't let you come to the grand jury.
The defendant, he has a statutory right to do it. Now, most times, the lawyers advise their clients not to do it, especially in Manhattan. In Brooklyn, it's a lot different. But this is the type of case where everything's on tape, and by now, Mr. Alba has already knows exactly what he has to say. I'm sure, even though he has a public defender, if he's still the same lawyers, I'm sure they've rehearsed it already. They've gone over it. It's not even rehearsal. They've gone over it. This is a case where, honestly, I think eventually it's going to be put away. It's going to go away. What's so frustrating is the two-faced comments we hear from our mayor. D.A. Bragg is a piece of garbage.
Right.
We know he's pro-criminal. We know he's a racist, and if this was a black gentleman working the bodega, he would never have been charged. I'm saying that right now. It's because a black man was killed by a Hispanic man. That's the only reason we have a charge right now. If it was opposite, we wouldn't have the charge. But what bothers me about it is Eric Adams. The Mayor Adams goes out last week and he says, he goes in front of the bodega saying this. It's a travesty of justice that Mr. Alba was in jail for as long as he was. But he stopped short. He stopped short of criticizing Alvin Bragg. Okay, now Mr. Adams was asked that question on one of New York City radio shows. I think you were on Bernie and Sid once before.
Yeah.
So he was asked that question. Why didn't you criticize the DA? He goes, because the mayor. It's not my job, nor my province, to go and criticize.
It is his job.
Well, he's not. Technically, he's right. It's not his job to go tell the DA what to do. That's the governor's job.
But he can let the guy out of jail as mayor.
No, he can't.
Can't?
No, the governor could, but not the mayor. But the thing is, this is the same Eric Adams who had no problem calling D.A. McMahon out in Staten Island and say, the guy who hit Rudy Giuliani should be released.
Right.
The case should be dismissed. So it's convenient for Mr. Adams to
But
call
didn't I
DAs. He
also
does.
hear
When he doesn't, he
that-
doesn't.
Didn't I also hear the mayor saying that we should file charges against Giuliani?
Yeah, so fire Charles.
But
He doesn't get involved, but
Right.
he gets.
But Giuliani turned around and says, I didn't file any charges. I didn't make a report.
Right. So that's. I mean, whether or not Giuliani, we're not going to go into the merits of what happened with Giuliani. Okay. Other than he should have a reflection on my, but other than that, because he did have stents put in recently. But what I'm trying to say is, Eric Adams was convenient for Eric Adams to call the DA one of his political enemies. He does. When he doesn't want to, for some reason, okay, he does not want to take Alvin Bragg on. I still don't know why. If there's one person in this whole state, there's one person in this whole state who could get away with taking Alvin Bragg on, it's Eric Adams, because Alvin Bragg will play the race card, but he can't play against another black man.
Right.
This is our guy who's supposed to be law and order, but he's not.
This crazy it's just, I tell you, I feel so bad for this guy, the bodega. You could defend yourself. You can't.
Look.
It's when they came to my house, the Black Lives Matter. I blocked them, but I knew that if I would hit back, I'd go to jail too. And
Yes
then
or
they
no?
tell me you could defend.
Again,
I
you
know,
have a
but
right
what
to
do you-
defend.
Yes or no?
Well,
It shouldn't
it's
be
a-
questionable even.
Well, okay. So I will tell you that as I said, some people use excessive force in response to what's to them, right? So, for example,
If somebody attacks me,
if somebody
I
attacks
have a
you,
right to go excessive force
no,
to
you don't.
defend myself.
No, you're right to use
So
commensurate
just push him
force.
away and run away?
Commensurate force, yes.
So
if it's,
a
if it's
wo-
in your home, it's a lot different. You do have a right to stand your ground in your house. But then again, I'm going to
But
tell you
this
this.
is in a bodega in his
This
store.
is
It's
store.
like his
But
own
this
home.
Is also, I want to tell you something. And this is very simple. I once, the quickest acquittal I ever got in a jury trial was on a self-defense case. There's a barroom fight. Guy sucker punched my client. My client took the bottle of beer that was in his hand and cracked the guy over the skull with that bottle. Okay? The DA said he had no right to hit him with the bottle. He only got punched. Right? So I said I went to the jury and said, let's play this out for a second. He has a bottle. What's he going to do? Tell him, excuse me, let me put the bottle down. I trust you're not going to sucker punch me again.
Right.
Well, the jury understood where I was going with this. The judge was cracking up, by the way. The judge was,
And?
we got a not guilty verdict in less than an hour and a half, and I argued with I was upset with the jury that they took so long. I asked them what took you so long. They said we figured we owed the other side a shot. I looked at them. I go, you didn't listen to the judge. You owe them nothing. But I mean, this is self-defense in New York and anywhere else. People get because it could be anyone. These are usually when you have a defendant, the guy put himself in the situation. On a self-defense case, a true self-defense case, like the one that happened to Mr. Alba, he didn't create the situation.
Right.
He was the victim. And he did what all of us would like to do in the situation, and all of us have a legal right to do in the situation.
Well, we have to do. And now I want to get a little bit lighter side. First of all, I forgot to give out some shout outs to my friend Ellie and Sergeant Peter and Mira Nava, and I'm calling out to your beautiful wife who called me today.
Yes, I heard she did.
And she called me today. She was very nice on the phone, and we did some reviewing, and
Hopefully we get what we need a couple weeks.
And today we got you your permit, you know what I mean? So you're
let's
good to go. We're going to get some inspections, and finally Ezra Levy will leave me alone and stop billing me. Anyways.
One day you'll pay the bill.
I know. I'm sorry, Ezra. I love you so much.
Yeah.
I know.
Love goes so far.
That's why Ezra has 2 kids in one room and he couldn't build that extra room because of me. I got you, Ezra. Anyways, I want to make something a little bit funnier than you. You know that the mayor and the mayor's office of the New York City emergency team, management, has come out with a PSA that's a public service announcement.
Yes.
That in case of a nuclear attack, by the way, somebody's saying we should get the mayor on the show. Tell the mayor.
Yeah,
he's
tell him to
welcome
call.
come on the show.
Mayor Adams will not have the guts to let
Mayor,
speak to us.
I know that.
He would not. Mayor Adams does not speak to anyone who questions anything about him.
Right.
At least De Blasio would take a question once in a while. Eric Adams is a bully, and he's a loser, and he's a joke.
He's going to try to slide through the 3 years, get reelected, and he's done.
Well, he might be running for president in 2 years from now.
Well, we'll see.
Well,
somebody went over to Biden. I saw a video and asked and said to him, 92% of the Democrats. He says, no, they want to have me back. I really wish they don't put Biden back.
You know what? The thing is, honestly, I'm a registered Republican, so I can't really. I'm going to vote for the Republican, whoever it is.
I'm a Democrat, but I'm still voting Republican.
But the thing is, the truth is, right now, the Democrats don't have a viable candidate. The most viable candidate that they have right now is really Michelle Obama. And she could win the presidency.
Oh, God.
She could win the presidency, but she's not going to run. Yeah. So now who are you going to have? Gavin Newsom, the guy who was almost recalled his own state?
You know who else they told me to vote to invite onto the show? Cracamo and de Blasio. That means Cuomo and de Blasio. I would invite them on the show. I do want to talk to them.
I would love
and I would talk to them civilly.
Of course.
I have questions to ask them.
Of course.
Like all of us.
It's not personal. It's personal.
It is personal.
It's personal, but we could still be, especially de Blasio. Yeah. But it's personal, but we could still be civil.
Please, people, don't vote for him. Please, people, don't vote for Brian Anderson.
Actually, I heard that de Blasio raised $250,000 last quarter.
I can't believe
it. Was $500,000.
And a lot of the Jewish people gave him too. I don't understand it. I'm lost.
I've told you something, okay? Liberal Jews are our own worst enemies.
But they're crazy. You didn't see what he did to us. Anyways, but now I want to talk about the nuclear attack. You know what I mean? Now,
It was
New York
duck,
City,
duck,
we're not,
duck and cover.
Wait a minute. We have problems with our economy, problems with our store. Restaurants are having issues because of the inflation. They're struggling again. Our car prices have doubled. Gas prices, inflation, rent. People having trouble all over the place. And what are we busy with? Nuclear attack. And here's their ideas for a nuclear attack. You're gonna
Stay
love
home
this.
and take a shower.
Now, there's an attack. You have radiation ash on you, which means you're almost dead. Run home and take a shower. What home? A nuclear explosion means the entire city is destroyed. There is no water for
There's
sure.
gonna be no running water.
There's no running
And
water.
actually, that water would be contaminated. Wouldn't it?
Right? Then two, listen to this, we're going to a basement. What are you joking? The air raid, you have to be in a special sealed basement. And the best one is turn on your telephone that's not working anymore and watch for the news. Are you really joking? This is what you're busy with. And then they come out with the health department comes out again and says you should wear masks.
Yeah,
I'm scared.
because of radiation.
Right. So if the city blows up due to a nuclear explosion, there's no reason to wear a mask anymore.
So here's my question:
Maybe the mask will help. You know?
Would help? Is it going to prevent COVID at that point? Look.
And they're saying COVID is up by 9%. A lie. A lie.
Well, there is a new variant that's very weak. It doesn't do anything. But I mean, the thing is, this really goes through everything else. And the mandates, the wearing, it's all political speak. The bottom line is this: they want to scare us to death so they can control us until we die. Until we die.
2 years ago, I made a protest in front of. 2 years ago in a week, I made a protest in front of my Maimonides hospital.
Right.
I told people are dying. People are being mistreated. We need to allow the people into the
My wife's grandfather was one of my Maimonides victims.
Mistreatment.
Yeah.
Today, I got a call from a lady that they want to do another protest there. I said 2 years ago you should have come. Now the politicians have
Finally woke up.
Felder woke up with all of our politicians, my friend
Yeager,
Yeager and
Eichenstein.
Eichenstein and two other idiots that I don't even know, have decided to write a letter, and we're going to have hearings. Now, I don't understand you. You know how many other people have died since then?
I know.
2,000 more deaths. 8 people a day on the average, and it's not because of the death, it's mistreatment. They're not taking care of the people. I'm watching this go on.
I'm going to say this, okay? My wife's grandfather, Grandpa Sid, may he rest in peace, was 95 years old. He got COVID, okay? 95-year-old man, he contracted COVID. He beat COVID. The problem is that we couldn't get him out of Maimonides quick enough.
They don't let you
so
out.
that he asphyxiated because the nurses weren't taking care of him.
Exactly.
So he didn't die from COVID.
Dirty beds.
He didn't die from COVID.
Right.
He died from asphyxiation.
Right. This is my problem. That's why I want. So when I spoke to the politicians, I spoke to one of them. He says to me, "Well, Heshy, your argument was that you wanted people just to be in the hospital." I said, "The reason I wanted them to be there is to help and watch their family members.
Of course.
This way, they won't be abused and they wouldn't die."
It's not just abuse. I'll tell you something. I'll go back to Grandpa Sid. When Grandpa Sid, he was 95. A few years before he got the COVID, also he fell down. He fractured his skull. We thought we were going to see him. We were in Colombia with him every night. My mother-in-law, her sisters, between the grandchildren, his sons-in-laws, grandchildren-in-law, the man was never left alone for a minute. And I will tell you something. That has an impact on the doctors and the nursing staff. When they see that there's somebody there who cares for them, they will actually produce.
And they'll come.
They'll
I
do
have
the
a
work.
friend of mine that I visit his mother every week. She's 97 years old, a Holocaust survivor. They watch her, the children, the grandchildren. They come over to visit her. She smiles. This week, my Yaakov went over with me to the house, and she was smiling and laughing with Yaakov and so happy he came over. This is what you do when you do this, and you watch, and you're there, and you're comforting them, like my brother's mother-in-law. Every night, every day, another grandchild sleeps over and stays there. This is the way it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
I don't know. I was in the hospital a couple years ago, and there was an old man brought in the middle of the night, and his granddaughter came in, and I said, "What's going on?" I was helping out, and she says, "Well, he couldn't sleep for a couple of days, and he's a landlord, and one of his supers gave him some drugs, some sleepy pills." The guy went crazy and started running around the house thinking it's Passover, and she got all nervous, and they took him into the hospital, whatever, and they see that he took the wrong drugs. And we asked him afterwards. He says, "Oh, my super is a very smart man. He gave me just sleeping pill." I said, "No, he didn't give you a sleeping pill.
He gave me something else, my friend.
He gave you something he should have made you sleep, but you shouldn't be doing that." So it's crazy. So that's the crazy thing that I have about it. And again, I'm going to scream about you guys about Penny Ringo. I'm going to bother you. This is the guy who kept our parks closed, who helped me get arrested, and you voted him in because what? The stupid Moisdes, the schools told you to vote him in because he's going to give them money. You're not getting anything. You guys are in trouble. But okay, listen to me. I accept the voice of the people. I just don't understand it because when you need me. But hey, that's up to you. Do what you got to do. And I know one thing, and I was talking to a young girl the other day. I help myself. I know how to beat the system. I know how to navigate the system, and I do it for other people, and I charge for it. But the point is you've got to learn. And not everybody can navigate the system where they get stuck. Like you know how to navigate the legal, and I don't know how to navigate legal so well. I know how to navigate government agencies, and you didn't know, so I helped you. This is what we do, and I'm going to tell you about my special ticket guy and a wonderful man because he knows how to navigate he just helped me with a ticket. Just got it. He got me. No points,
right.
but I think it's still going to be on my driving record for a couple of years.
The way it works in New York is if it's 18 months after you get the ticket,
The points don't make a difference to me. What is it? 2 points, 5 points? If you have 10 or 12 points, you lose your license.
Six you get hit with a special fine also.
Right, but again, I'm not a crazy driver. I'm not getting 6 or 10 or 20 points. I get 2 or 3 points, and they affect your driver's license for a couple of years.
Right,
and even though I won the case, but still there was a ticket on me, and I hear it stays on your record, or they see it that there was a ticket issued for 3 years.
It stays on your record, yes.
It's crazy. Oh, he was issued a traffic violation. He was found innocent.
No, if you found that innocent, it's off.
No, it's not off. It's still a record of it. You got it, but it was dismissed.
Right.
So it doesn't affect your insurances and stuff, but it's still there, and it could affect you. Anyways, I want to talk to you about my wonderful ticket guy, and his name is James Meadows. James is an attorney, a highly ranked traffic lawyer, former criminal lawyer dedicated to all moving violations throughout New York State. James handles all points-related moving violations in New York City, Long Island, upstate New York, speeding, red lights, cell phones, stop signs, failure to lead, yield, and improper traffic turns, which I got one, and he beat me. Offense with stiff penalties, including huge fines, points, increased insurance rates, suspensions of your driver's license, and even being arrested. Call the law offices of James Meadows. It's your best chance of beating your traffic ticket. His number is 845-TICKETS or 845-842-5387. Again, 845-TICKETS. And let's see, I also have something else that I have on him. And you can email him at www.ny-defense.com. Yes, it's a new thing. Or you can email him at jamesmeadows@gmails.com. JAMESMEDOWS@gmail.com. Or that's his website, .ny-defense.com. And he tells you everything about there. His office number, and again, I didn't post it up there. He's located at 308 Atlantic Avenue. But his office number, again, is 845-842-5387 or 845-TICKETS. Just a wonderful guy. And you know who else I like so much in the legal profession? My wonderful friend, Ezra Levy.
Hey, I know that guy.
Ezra Levy specializes in all criminal matters. Do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
No. You name it, I've tried it.
Including weapons possession, drug offenses, domestic violence, theft offenses, assaults, and DWI. Criminal and family court order of protection defenses. Call my friend sitting here, my co-host, Ezra Levy, at 917-755-1187. Ezra, what's that number?
917-755-1187.
Good thing I didn't have to
better know
practice
my
with
own
you.
number.
Ezra Levy Law Firm at gmail.com. EZRALEVYLAWFIRM@gmail.com. Call my boy Ezra Levy. He's helped so many people. He's such a good man. And I love you, Ezra. Really.
Thank you.
From the bottom of my heart. See, people don't understand what love is. They think love, infatuation. I love you not like a brother, as a person, as a being of doing good to others,
Thank you.
People tell me about my marriage and love and so on like that. My father and mother had a wonderful relationship. They loved each other.
Right.
And you don't see that much in the the old Hasidic and older generation, they really had a love of holding hands and being together in the bedrooms and in sleeping there and always coming home. And I saw their love in their eyes. Yes, they had fights and arguments and business, but I actually saw their love, and it was a great marriage. I didn't want such a marriage. I wanted something bigger, greater, more amazing. And I married a girl that's amazing. Now, of course, we have our issues. Trust me, Linda fights with me all the time, as you can hear from my jokes and stories. But you have to always find out and try to make your situation more amazing. Wow, we have a lot of questions coming up here. I'm not going to talk about Jaeger. They did say that Bragg is a racist.
Yes.
And, oh God, somebody said something stupid. I'm not going to.
That's okay. How did I offend someone? Go ahead.
No, you didn't. If somebody said something crazy, we're not going to talk about that at all.
Okay.
And I want you to know something right now that, there's something called, and I want to teach you guys out there, something called, some of you guys are trying to make a quick buck. It's called cryptocurrency. That is Bitcoin and Dogecoin. Yeah, I bought Bitcoin. I bought and sold it because people talk to me about it. I have Dogecoin, some penny little thing that I had a couple extra dollars, so I buy $11 worth to have like 200 shares of it. If it goes up to $2-3, I made money. Warren Buffett's right-hand man, this is one of the richest, biggest, most best investors in the world, says he trash talks about cryptocurrency, saying it's almost insane to buy this stuff or trade in it. There's nothing behind it. I don't understand this mining and,
I know,
what's mining? Mining what? There's no
Chris
gold or anything behind
Chris
it.
Chris Messi knows a lot about this.
I know that. Chris didn't want to tell us about it,
but the thing is, I don't get it, and it's, usually, if you invest in a company, right, you buy stocks, you know what the company is dealing with,
and buying or selling or servicing you.
You know what their services are, right? So they have a track record, and you're investing in their track record. There's also regulation of their business, so that they can't go on and start doing some ridiculous stuff with the money that you invest. With cryptocurrency, it doesn't exist.
Right. But even if they do come up with some
regulation.
regulation.
It's like me saying, I want to sell you air.
Right, but they want to think about regulating cryptocurrency. But it's not cryptocurrency. It's nothing you regulate. It's like going to Las Vegas and betting on a game that has no substance to the game.
That's exactly. That's what the stock market is to begin with.
No, but the stock market has behind it companies. It has people that you're buying and selling, and profitable companies or lost companies.
These have nothing.
These have nothing behind it.
I personally do not understand it. I don't get it.
It's just the rich guys buying it cheap, and they're hoping you buy it at a high price, and you're going to lose all your money.
I know Eric Adams wanted to get paid in Bitcoin.
Yeah, wow, we should have.
No, he wanted to. So I'm trying to figure out what do you do with it.
He's not a smart man.
Well, I don't think he's not smart, but I don't think he's a total dummy either.
Well, I guess he does. He needs a financial advisor. You know that the inflation in the United States has reached a 40-year high, a new 40-year high. The data from the Labor Department shows consumer prices rose 9.1% from a year ago. In 1 year, prices have risen by 10%. Yeah. Now, here's the best part of it.
It's not Joe Biden's fault.
And it's the fastest pace since 1981. In New York City, supermarket chains tell the news that it just again raised the prices of eggs because of margin losses became critical. The executives say rising gas prices, labor shortages have also increased the cost of basics such as chicken, milk, and spices. Compared to a year ago, prices at grocery stores saw the largest increase since 1979. Now, I'm not talking about clothing and fancy shoes and cars. Chicken, milk, basic stuff for me just to go home to eat. That's why my refrigerator is half empty most of the time.
Well, that's because you're on a diet. Yeah. But the thing is, the truth is, this is all because on day one of his administration, Joe Biden decided to close down the pipelines and to freeze pipelines and to get rid of fracking and stop putting this environmental green agenda instead of looking out for America's best interests. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with Vladimir Putin. It has nothing to do with anything except that Joe Biden decided from day one that he was going to be beholden to the environmental lobby. And he refuses to backtrack from it. And his advisors even came out and said, look, we want to force you to accept the new liberal world order. That's what they want. It's just all about control. So now, just think about it. If I want to get your chicken, right? Your chickens don't grow in your backyard.
Right.
They grow in some farm, right? Either upstate New York or farms in the Midwest.
Right.
Now they have to get, somebody has to, they have to get transported from point A to point B, and then from point B to ultimately onto your shelves.
Right.
Well, that, how we transport stuff? It's called gasoline and diesel fuel.
Right.
Well, that's very expensive. So those prices get factored into the price of that the wholesaler is selling the retailer.
Right.
The retailer has to make his margins, so those get passed over to you and me.
Same way with eggs and milk
That's
and
anything.
all of that.
Whether it's food, whether it's clothing, whether it's service, even services.
Somebody mentioned over here, and we're just going to go back on the topic, that Giuliani is not a friend of the Jewish people. I don't believe that.
Look, Rudy Giuliani was an effective mayor. I'm going to use that. I have a lot I could criticize Rudy. I did not like his methods. I liked his results. I did not like his methods, to say that Rudy Giuliani has showed anything other than pro-Jewish, pro-Zionist views would be a misnomer. He was, we haven't had a friend in racing management in a long time like Rudy Giuliani.
I know.
And Rudy Giuliani was a friend of the community, so I don't know why that.
I have no. And his son is one. If I wish his son would be.
I will tell you something. I told you I thought Lee Zeldin should have won the nomination. I voted for Andrew Giuliani. I watched all three debates.
Zeldin is not going to beat Zeldin is not going to beat Hochul.
I'm not even sure.
That's a problem.
You know what? I think the only person. I don't think really matters who the Republican candidate is. Hochul will beat Hochul. That's the only person who could beat Hochul would be Hochul. But I was very impressed by Andrew Giuliani. I saw 3 of the Republican debates. I watched even the 2 of the debates.
So why did we vote for Lee Zeldin?
Lee Zeldin was backed by the party, and in New York, they're not in Republicans. New York State Republican politics is the same thing as New York State Democratic politics. The party controls it. They tell you who the nominee is going to be. So they made the primary into a joke almost because he started off with that vote. Plus, Andrew Giuliani. You also met Rob Astorino. I know you went with him around.
Yeah.
So Rob Astorino and Andrew Giuliani were basically saying the same exact thing.
Either way, we should have picked one of them.
But the problem is they took votes from each other.
But I think,
and they're both better qualified than Lee Zeldin.
They were.
They were both qualified. Now, I personally have no problem with Zeldin.
Giuliani will come back in 4 years and he'll do something. He'll be
he'll
older, wiser.
I think he's going to be running for Congress in 2 years.
I don't want him in Congress. I want him in New York City as a governor or mayor.
He might be running for mayor.
Oh, that would be so
He
good.
might be running for mayor, take his father. But at the same time, look, his father...
Mayor, he would have had a better shot because he cleaned up in New York City as the governor of votes. Zeldin won the upstate votes.
Zeldin got the upstate votes in Long Island.
And Giuliani got all
Staten
of
Island. Staten Island.
Forget that. He got New York City. He beat everybody in New York City.
Mostly, because that's his territory.
Giuliani should have stayed here, but I love Andrew, and I hope.
And I will tell you something. I mean, I was really impressed.
But I'm praying that Zeldin wins just to get rid of Hochul.
Yeah, me too. And I think Lee Zeldin wins.
And everybody's saying, look what Hochul's doing.
Nothing.
She never stood up for us against Cuomo. She never said anything to the Jewish community.
She's worse than Cuomo.
And she comes into our community surrounded by men.
She's worse than
no
Cuomo.
Mask. Why doesn't she stop the mask mandate?
She is worse than Cuomo. She's as corrupt as him. I mean, look, that stadium deal that she got to for the Buffalo Bills in her backyard, her husband's going to make millions of dollars on concessions.
And what about this Penn Station thing?
Yeah,
what are you doing? Who needs you to rebuild stores in Penn Station? Use this billions of dollars to help all the store owners fix up their stores, fix up the highways. Penn Station just needs to be constantly repaired and watch. It's in pretty good shape. No reason to knock it down and have a 10-year waste and close down our city streets just for, I don't know why.
Just to put your name on it.
Put your name, right, exactly. That's
just to put your name on the cornerstone. That's really all it is.
I know. I hope she loses so much.
But the truth is, I do think, notwithstanding what I said, I think Lee Zeldin would make a terrific governor, policy-wise. He was just too standoffish for my liking as a candidate. Well, but I think he is a policy wonk. He is very ready for this job, and look, anything's better than what we have now.
Well, I hope so. Well, I'm going to be voting for him. I want to talk about something again on your legal thing. We're going to go a little bit off topic. You know, the dereliction of duty video proves that what's the name of that town where all the kids were killed?
Uvalde.
Uvalde was the greatest act of cowardice in modern American history.
I'm not sure if it was. I'm not sure if it's
the
biggest act of cowardice, but it was a very big act of cowardice.
Just cowards, you know.
Here's the thing.
You know, when those guys are tough guys and they walk in with tough situations when nobody's pushing them around.
It's easy to do.
But
first of all, you have to understand. Uvalde is a very small town. These cops aren't trained the same way as New York City cops are. You know, at the bottom line is they weren't well trained. But really, I don't know how a cop does his job in the first place. It really takes it's a special breed of person who will put his life in danger 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for others, for people they've never met. But these officers were a bunch of cowards. You know, look, hate to say this, you signed up for this job, and because of these cops not doing their job, and basically letting a murderer just murder more people because they did nothing.
Yeah.
And you had parents begging them to go in and let me do it, being willing to be the cops themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the reasons. Okay, again, nobody knows whether they're going to freeze or how they're going to react until they're put in a situation. Nobody should ever be put in that situation.
So many of them
but they froze. They froze as a department. But that's one of the reasons that I really think that that schools have to be hard targets, not soft targets. You need armed teachers.
Well, we're going to do another commercial, and then we're going to talk about some stuff about January 6th that I want to tell you about that came out. Borg's Barbershop, located at 108 Avenue I. You can reach Borg's Barbershop at 718-758-5187, 718-758-5187, or call or text or WhatsApp Borg personally to schedule your appointment at 347-845-9131. 347-845-9131. Yes, he sings when he cuts my hair because I think my hair smells nice. That's why he sings.
Smells nice. Okay.
The official singing barber of me, Heshy Tishleri, 718-758-5187, located at 108 Avenue I, Borg's Barbershop. Guys, he gives you good prices. He's very good. I love him. Go to him. He's really a good friend, and I like him. Now, here's something that you guys are all going to scream at me. Oh, my God, Heshy, with your conspiracy. On January 6th, those doors that had to open to the Capitol, I heard were like 2,000 or 3,000 pounds that were impossible to be pushed open. Somebody opened those doors. Also, the committee just made a mistake that they said that in the investigation that the people were not supposed to go to the Capitol. They were told to go to another location. So how could they say that Trump said to go and attack the Capitol or whatever?
Let me be very clear about this, okay? This January 6th committee is a sideshow. There's one purpose of this January 6th.
Yeah?
Look,
explain.
First of all, this is the only committee in congressional history where the minority party didn't get to choose. It's on a select committee where the minority party did not get to choose who they put on that select committee. By definition, a select committee is selected by the leadership of the parties. Okay? Kevin McCarthy chose a handful of gentlemen and ladies as well to be members of Congress to be on that select committee. None of them were accepted because they didn't want them to say anything that would break the narrative. There's only one purpose for this January 6th committee. It's to make sure that Donald Trump can't run again. Yeah. Now, either they're going to try to get legal charges against him, which I don't think they're going to be able to succeed in because, as you said, he didn't do anything. Or two, just when you blasted enough garbage about the person, you're not going to want to vote for him. And personally, right now, I'm leaning towards Ron DeSantis, and I think Trump was a tremendous president.
Ron is not running.
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
But right now,
but
the thing is,
next year after the midterm
elections, we're going to see what happens. Ron's not going to run. He's not going to run against Donald Trump if he runs.
Donald is going to big rallies, raising money. Why would he do this? Like no president continues like this who leaves office.
And that's the whole thing. He should. And the truth is, he's getting up there in age. Also, he's going to be hitting Biden in a year soon. It's. I'm serious. It might be the time for Donald Trump to just take the high road and become the rainmaker, become the kingmaker. So you'll say, look, I'm endorsing X, Y, Z. This is who we want. The same way that
The point is, if not Ron DeSantis, I don't like anybody. I do like Ted
This
Cruz.
comes-
He's coming around lately.
There's some very good. Tim Scott in South Carolina would make a very
I
good
don't
president. Christy Noem in South Dakota is another one. There's some very good ones.
What about the guy Marco? I like
Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
Marco Rubio. I think his time passed. When 8 years ago, or whatever, in 2016, I actually wanted to vote for Rubio in the primary.
Really?
Yeah, I support
No,
him.
I didn't like him.
I liked him over Donald. I did not vote for. I did not want. Trump was not my first choice. It wasn't even my second choice as a Republican. He pressed. I'll tell you, when I voted for him against Hillary, it took a lot for me to turn that, to click in and vote for Donald Trump because I just was turned off by his rhetoric. But the thing is, his results you can't argue against.
You can't argue against.
You can't. And look,
And he was a New Yorker, and he told it the way it
Well,
is.
that's why people like-
say that
that's
people say I'm a Trump. I'm not a Trump. This is who I am.
that's
I'm
who you are. But
58
the
years
thing
old.
is, look again. The results spoke for themselves, and I had zero hesitation voting for him the second time around. I'll probably vote for him again the third time around. But the whole purpose of this January 6th thing is just to make sure that he can't run again. And
I think he has. He's going. I'm hoping that
Like, and let's-
his ego, and he will run. And
I'm sure he
hoping
will.
that-
I'm sure he's going to run again.
I want to bring up Maimonides one more time.
Go ahead.
Just for your knowledge, 1,400 people died, according to them, on COVID. So they were paid COVID wages.
Mm-hmm.
On the average, a person with COVID in the hospital got about $855,000.
Yes, exactly.
Now,
And let's just be
explain
clear.
to me.
And let's be
I'm
clear.
just giving you
I
1,400.
just want to give you numbers. Those 1,400. I'm going to go back to Grandpa Sid for a second, okay? Grandpa Sid was counted as one of those 1,400.
Yeah.
And there's two problems. A, they make a lot of money. But B, because COVID was, the hospitals got away with it. You couldn't sue the hospitals.
It's not the suing.
You could.
They
Families
made
had zero
tens
recourse.
of millions of
But
dollars.
the families had zero recourse. It was medical malpractice.
But the tens of millions of dollars, they were understaffed with all that money coming in, which is unacceptable. And now Maimonides is most probably going to be declaring bankruptcy.
How could they? This is what bothers me about these hospitals. First of all, Maimonides bought a baseball field in Coney Island. This Maimonides Park used to be, I forgot what it was before. It was some power company, National
Yeah.
Grid. Okay, they bought what used to be called Community Hospital on Kings Highway in Bedford Avenue. Now it's called Maimonides Community Hospital. So these hospitals,
It's a game
It's a
because
whole
the
gimmick.
money they might get sued or lost if they declare
And
bankruptcy.
then,
you
and
can't
then what
touch them.
happens? They're gonna still be there, and they're still look. I was born in Maimonides Hospital, but the thing is, I wouldn't send anyone there.
Yeah, I had my boy Avram. I mean, he wasn't born there; he was born in the house. But yeah, we took Linda there afterwards. And 2 days later, I didn't leave Linda there. Linda was there that night. The next day already, she waited 1 day, and then boom, we brought her home right away. That's it. It was on the spot. No games. I was scared of the hospital watching, and I was there all the time watching my baby. I wanted to take him home. I was making them crazy. We're leaving, and everybody's healthy. But Avram was born at home and whatever, so they were being a little cautious.
Right.
But again, me and my brother and my mother were there just watching, and they couldn't be. And we were
Well, that's the
very
whole
careful.
thing, and that's the tragedy of COVID was that other than all the people dying and getting sick, was the manner and how they expired, because they didn't have their loved ones there, and a lot of people. I'll tell you, I've seen letters from patients there, who we've lost, friends of family, who are like, don't let them take me.
Well, we're coming to the end of the show, so I want to bring up a very important topic that was all over the news this week. It's, again, the Roe versus Wade, the abortion thing. Now, I understand you want abortion, you don't want abortion, you want later things. Let women do whatever they want. Even in my office today, it came up.
What's a woman?
What? Yeah, we didn't know what a woman, because
And that's how women's rights
is
anymore.
a
It's how women's
transgender woman.
Yes,
Is she entitled to abortion?
a transgender man is entitled to abortion because this was. You think I'm joking, but yesterday in the U.S. Senate, there was a professor from, I think, Berkeley University, a law professor, who actually called a Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri transphobic because he asked him, "Is abortion a woman's rights issue?" And she goes, "Well, there's women and there's also men who could have babies." And he's like,
What?
Men cannot have babies.
I know.
And she basically called him transphobic.
Wow.
So this is how crazy it's gotten. But yeah, just to go back to it, all this decision did, okay?
But my question is, does this? Nobody brought this case back to the Supreme Court.
Sure they did.
Oh, somebody
So what-
brought it
okay,
back.
so what
That's
happens
why
is-
he ruled on it.
So what happened? Yeah. So
you
yeah,
can't just bring up another case.
the Supreme Court of the United States cannot make a decision on something on anything other than what's called a ripe case in front of them. It has to be an actual case.
It was
an
a
actual
case.
space.
They ruled already. and
So,
now they're
so Roe v.
changing the ruling.
Roe v. Wade was decided in 1973.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you had Casey versus Planned Parenthood of Pennsylvania back in the 80s, when I believe it was the 90s. I'm sorry, the 90s. Then what happened is they've been different state legislations have made many different attempts to limit the rights under Roe v. Wade and Casey versus Planned Parenthood. As a result, states have started to come and say, okay, first trimester, then 6 weeks, whatever, viability, then they start with the heartbeat statutes. Finally, what these cases have been coming further and further, and then Mississippi basically said 6 weeks and that's it. So the Planned Parenthood arm of Pennsylvania brought the case against Dobbs, and there was a ripe issue, and Supreme Court of the United States finally said, you know what? Let's revisit the propriety
of
of
something that Clarence Thomas just brought up.
No,
and
you
changed.
can't. You see, this is the whole thing, and this was the whole
It
thing.
had to be ruled on.
And
So what they were all worried about. So these people in the Senate that every time asked questions about abortion, they knew that this case would come back to the Supreme Court.
Because ever since Roe v. Wade was decided, it's been controversial. Because the problem with Roe v. Wade is twofold. First of all, it's a very moral issue whether you believe in you think abortions are as right or correct or not. Let's leave that aside. Legally speaking, Roe v. Wade created a right out of nothing. There's nothing in the Constitution that, first of all, gives you right to body privacy. It doesn't exist in the Constitution. But even if you want to say it does, it doesn't give you a right to kill someone else, or decide, or to kill a fetus.
Right.
And we had at that time 9 men. 7 of them decided that we're going to create a right because it just sounds good. Okay, and Justice Blackmun, who wrote the decision, was on the board of directors of the Mayo Clinic. So they said, okay, you write the decision because you use some things about medicine. So he picked up, okay, viability is up to after 6 months.
But I heard a lot of the
It was all wrong.
hospitals backed abortion.
Well, that's because it's a moneymaker.
Right, it's a moneymaker.
It's a money. Let's make
But here's my problem. People are arguing about when is life born?
When
do
does
we
life
kill the
start?
people? When does life start? When do we kill the baby? So I understand that argument.
That's a moral argument.
And I even understand that a woman's body is her body. I'm
not going to get into
We're
that.
not going to get into that. So this week, what I've been watching on a lot of the news shows and talk shows and committees is the argument is not why to have abortion legal. The abortion should be legal mainly for low-income women and black or women of color.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Why? Because they can't handle the baby.
Oh, so let's talk about that.
So I don't understand why
since
you're so
Roe
worried
v. Wade,
about...
Since Roe v. Wade was decided, 64 million African American babies were killed. 64 million African American babies were aborted.
So
why?
there's a reason.
The reason is because it's been shoved down their throats that that abortion is a form of birth control. That's how it's been. That's how it's been played.
But these women can't handle the children.
Says who?
These women are going to have some of them.
You see, if I'm brainwashed, if you're brainwashed,
before you say about 20% of the abortions are teenage girls under the age of 20.
I understand that. So
they can't be mothers.
There's 2 things I can tell you about that. Okay, first of all, get married, then have
come on, you know these young teenagers.
So you don't want to talk about that. You don't want to talk about that. But the thing is, you made an adult decision, and this is a life.
You can't punish somebody for making a mistake.
It's not a mistake. It's a decision. It's a decision. Okay. That being said, okay, the problem is these neighborhoods, Planned Parenthood. Okay. By the way, Planned Parenthood was created by a woman who was a racist eugenist who wanted to kill the black race. That's who founded Planned Parenthood. You could look it up. She was a eugenist.
To kill black children.
She hated the blacks.
But what about white children?
So
that
the
are having
thing is,
abortions?
when
what about Asians?
Actually, when Planned Parenthood puts in one of their clinics, it's usually a predominantly black or poor neighborhood. And what they say, Planned Parenthood advertises, we give the women counseling as to different reproductive health.
Her name is Margaret Sanger.
Yes, exactly. And you could look her up. But what I'm trying to say to you is, it's touted as giving women ideas.
You see,
but
the way you're
what
telling
they tell
me now,
us,
it's a conspiracy
it's
theory.
not a conspiracy
She
theory.
wanted all the black
it's
kids
not
killed.
it's not conspiracy theory. You have to know who the messenger is before you accept the message. Okay, and the message has been for the last 50 years, or almost 50 years, that babies don't exist until they come out of their mother's womb, their mother's body, and the reason for that is Planned Parenthood makes a lot of money when they kill a fetus. When they kill a baby, they make a lot of money.
Well, we're gonna come to the end of the show, but we're gonna advertise Green Line Building Solutions, preservation. That's my company. Development, fire department, criminal court, Department of Finance, ECB settlements, building consulting violations, removal, construction management, owner compliance, contracting, licensed DOB expediters, designs, professionals for all your building solutions. We're located at 202 Forster Avenue. Call me. It's my company, 718-871-0382, 718-871-03, located at 202 Forster Avenue. Come on down. Come and call me. We give free estimates, and we give you just sometimes people just call me and sit on the phone with me and just ask me for information, and we're always there, willing to give you advice, and then you don't have to use it or use it. My listeners, thank you so much for tuning into the show. Ezra, thank you for coming back again another Wednesday. Remember, November 8th is Election Day. I'll keep reminding you every day, and I might be going on vacation. If you have suggestions, WhatsApp me, text me, email at Just Enough Heshy. Remember, we're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Every week I make, my son today says, Pop, you make a video every day. I said, not every day. I'm going to start slowing down. Maybe you people are too spoiled with my videos. You don't enjoy it. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my show. Thank you, my producer, for waving me off half the time. Ezra, I love you so much.
Love you too, Heshy. Have a great night.
Have your house finished. Good night, everybody.